Hello, everyone. This is Chava from Chava Wellness, and I just wanted to welcome you to our membership meeting. I'm so excited, and let's dive into the poultices, into the world of poultices. So first, you might hear, Chava, we hear so much about the world poultices. What does it mean? We don't understand. So let me really explain you what the poultices is. Poultices is absolute its application over the skin, and those application can be consistent of different vegetables, herbs, flour, charcoal, clay, many other things. So basically application over the skin. And I'm going to teach you how to prepare a poultices today. We're going to go over different poultices and different combinations. And we're also going to go over the healing properties of some of the poultices. It's hard to cover the whole entire world of poultices because there's so many. There is a flour and bread, and you might say, I mean, there is a flour and water poultice. Then there is also milk poultices. There's a garlic poultice, an onion poultice, and clay poultice, and charcoal. And then there is the herbal poultices, which is could be comfrey poultice, yarrow poultice, and there can be also fruit kind poultices like a banana poultice, banana peel poultice. There could be also a cabbage poultice. There can be also potato poultices. So it's endless. I will try to cover a few important ones that I really see in my practice that I usually use it. So let's dive in. Hopefully you understand. And why poultices are so important, because they really help you. It's not always when the problem strikes, let's say some sort of infection. There could be a local infection, an internal infection. So what I like to do is treat in both ways. So let's say there is infection on the skin, or there is inflammation, or there is a broken bone. So we can apply poultice over this area and then also take it internally to heal it. So basically we work in both ways, internally and externally. And I found this absolutely incredible. And okay, let's dive in. So where we can use the poultices? Well, the poultices can be used on the skin, as I mentioned before, over the troubled area. But let's say you don't really know where the trouble is and you just wanted to detoxify. You can also use a poultice, and that will be a famous poultice that everyone knows. And it's called castor oil poultice, where you apply over, let's say, your liver. You'd not necessarily have infection, but you can apply a liver. Same thing can be done for the back. Let's say, if I have a back pain, what should I do? What you can do is you can apply a castor oil poultice over the area. And then there is also different spices that can be used over there. So let's dive in and let's cover. So the first, my favorite poultice is a potatoes. And you might say, why the potatoes? Because I've seen amazing healing results by using a potatoes. And how you do it? Very simple. You use a potato, and then you use a shredder, and you shred the potato very simply. And then you need to cover this in the one of the cheesecloths. And then you apply over the area. Now, let me explain you a little bit about the potatoes. Okay, I just used cayenne and it's a little bit spicy, on the spicy side. Okay, so this is a potato. So what the potato is doing, potato is absolutely incredible to draw infection from the skin. Now, we sometimes deal with nail infections where you see the pus coming out, and the doctors usually suggest, oh, we should use antibiotic ointment. You don't need to. You can use a potato. Another wonderful ways you can use a potatoes is in congestion, in swelling. You can also help to bring a heat down, let's say after a burn. You can use a potato and shredded poultice over the burn, and it will cool down the heat, the burn. Other ways to use this humble potato, which is absolutely incredible, in its on strains, on bruises, on boils, on pimples, even onto rheumatic arthritic inflammations. Absolutely incredible. This humble potato. This potato also can be used on ankles, can be used on inflamed eyes. Oh, I actually had a recent case where we used a potato, a poultice over the eye, and it really helped to heal inflammation. Other things we can use a potato poultice or even potato itself when you cut the potato and you insert into the anus, and that can be used for hemorrhoids, and it's really, really helpful. So here we go. Potato, remember, is absolutely incredible to draw out any sort of things that I mentioned up until now. Now you might say, Chava, okay, so I prepared the poultice. How long I should keep the potatoes on? Well, the potato you can, first of all, according to what you're dealing. Let's say I'll bring the case that I had. Someone who was doing something, preparing a food, and then she chopped half of her finger. That was a horrible thing. And then she went to the ER. Obviously, they bandaged it, but they really tightened up the area so badly that it caused actually from blood to stop flowing. And when they opened the bandage after 2 days, it was absolutely disaster. When I saw the pictures, it was not good. It was all infected, all bruised. It didn't look so good. So I just suggested to use the potatoes. So we shred the potatoes and then we applied over the area. Now, how long we keep in this condition? I thought to keep for about 4 hours and then replace it with the new one. Now, there is some cases that can use it for an hour and then switch it and put a new poultice. Sometimes you need couple application. Let's say you can do every couple hours. Sometimes maybe one time application should be enough. So it's really up to you how long and how often you need to change. Because I also want to use your common sense. What does it mean using common sense? Well, because sometimes your skin might say, oh, Chava, that was enough. I don't need right now more poultice. Now I need some fresh air to heal. I need some oxygen. So use your common sense and look at the finger or whatever you're treating. And according to that, follow your internal voice. Okay. So remember, humble potatoes is absolutely incredible. Okay. Let's go over other amazing poultices. Another poultice that I love very much, it's onions. Now, onions we use in ear infections, onions we use on a bronchitis infection and inflammation. We can use it also on the throat pain. Basically, we chop the onions and we can apply over the area. We can apply straight, not usually suggested. Better always to use a cheesecloth. So you're gonna, let's say, cut them into the circle pieces, and then you apply it over, and then you're gonna put in the middle, you're gonna cover it like you do with envelope, and then you apply over the infected area, and usually it's better to secure with some sort of a plastic wrap, okay, because that way it will keep more secured, and also it will evaporate less. I found that if you really keep it open like this, the herbs usually tend to evaporate very quickly, or they will lose their heat, or many other things, but it will dry out. But when you apply a saran wrap around, and then you put like a neck warmer, or you put some sort of a warm towel over, that can stay for longer, and it's suggested. Now, you can also use this humble onion in ear infections, where you chop the onions, you put them into the poultice, and you apply over the ears. And my friend once said it's like making onion headphones. It's really funny. It looks really like a headphones, onion headphones. Another way you can use also this humble garlic is you can also use as a warmed, not warmed, but basically baked in the oven, and can be applied on the young babies, which is absolutely incredible. Young babies can really use the onion, but because their skin is so gentle, you want to bake this onion until it becomes translucent, and then you can apply over the chest and wrap the baby, and it really helps with cough. Other ways you can use the poultices is chop the onions and put them in a Ziploc bag and then put your feet inside. So this is many ways we can use this humble onion. It's absolutely incredible for asthma, for sore throat. So remember, onion is wonderful, and it helps to relieve infections, ear infections, throat pain, asthma, congestion. It's This is where you go. You use the onion. Another wonderful, my favorite poultice is a cabbage. And here we go. Cabbage poultices is absolutely incredible. And what the cabbage do? Well, cabbages, it's actually absorbing the poisons. Cabbage absorbs different poisons, relieves sinus, relieves congestion. And I cabbage leaves been applied on a very, very high fever in the old people, and it's really helped to pull the toxins out and reduce the fever. Because in reality, we don't want to reduce fever. We want what the body to do what is designed to do. If the body is asking that we need a fever, then we help. But in some cases, the fever is really hard on people, especially if the people are older or if the people are very young, like babies. So using a cabbage absolutely works in those cases. Now, I really also want to tell you that I found the cabbage wonderful to use for mastitis, for moms who are nursing and suddenly having some sort of infection. You know what is the best way is to use cabbage. But I do see that many people don't understand that when you do prepare a cabbage poultices, you cannot just take a cabbage like that and apply it straight. What you have to do is you have to break it, and this is how usually works. So what you have to do, you either have to kind of how I would say, scratch it into like scratch the surface so that it will release its liquids, and it will help the heal faster the certain area that we're trying to treat. Let's say in this case will be mastitis. Okay, so you cannot don't apply straight, but really kind of cut into the small pieces and damage the surface, so that way the power that's in the herb will be faster released into the skin. And when after, then what you want to do is to put again a saran wrap, and then on top of the saran wrap, I want you to apply or either cotton towel or something to keep it warm. Okay, so it's absolutely incredible. And this is the proper ways how to you can use a cabbage. Another thing, you can be using the cabbage itself, but we're preparing a juice of the cabbage, and then we're using the cabbage that really helps us on with eye irritations. So here we go. Now let's say, oh my gosh, I don't have a potato, but I have a cabbage. So now you can use a cabbage, which is wonderful for eye irritations as well. Now, wonderful for sinuses, as I mentioned before. And how you do it? The same way. You take the cabbage and you really scrub it nicely. You break all these fibers, and then you apply over the area that you're trying to treat, and then put with the saran wrap, and then put a heating bottle. And I found works very nicely as well. But many cases I found to use the cabbage or either on mastitis or on burns is also very wonderful. On arthritis, especially on the knees that people are suffering arthritis. It's okay.
Okay.
So right now I'm talking about the cayenne poultice, and the
Oh, great.
cayenne poultice helps really to stop the bleeding, and we need to know how to use it. And cayenne poultice is is a very unique one. I'm gonna go over again, maybe by the end of the class, the herbs that I already covered, but we'll just continue, and then you'll get the recording that will be everything on it. Okay. So as I said before, the cayenne helps to stop the bleeding. So, and there is a way to use it, cayenne. And what we do, or either open wound, or we treat the area that does not have enough circulation, or we have an area that needs more heat toward the area, or create more oxygen. So what we can do is we take the paper towel, and then we put some oil, and we drizzle some oil over the napkin, let's say, and then we apply and sprinkle a cayenne right on it. So when you do that, that basically the cayenne sticks to the paper and does not, fly all around. You kind of want to manage it, because if the cayenne will gonna fly all around, it also can get into your nose, into your eyes, and that's not so so smart. So the best way to do it is this way. And then you can apply over the area. So let's say if somebody's having arthritic pain, and we know the cayenne really helps with the pain. So what we can do is, this is how you do it. You prepare the poultice, and then you apply over the area, and then you wrap it with saran wrap, and it's really helps to bring in circulation and reduce the pain. Now they can be also applied over the kidneys, they can be applied over the stomach, they can be applied in different areas. Okay, now they can also be applied over the sinus area. That's why I actually made it for everyone easier and created the cayenne salve so everyone can use it. But you still want to know how to use a cayenne poultice when the time it comes. And let's say you don't have a cayenne on hand, and you don't have a cayenne infusion. This is how you prepare a cayenne poultice. Okay, it's also, if you live on the East Coast and you all the time feel like, oh, I'm chill all the time, cold, you can do the same thing and put it in your boots, and then the heat will come from cayenne, and you're gonna feel warm and cozy in your shoes. Okay. Okay, what other poultices we can use? Now there is obviously herbs that we can use, and wonderful herb to use is a slippery elm. And the slippery elm is basically as a powder. It's basically like something like as a clay. So what you do is you take slippery elm and you mix it with the water, and you make it like a jello type, and then you can apply over the area. Now what we do with slippery elm, now I've used slippery elm as a poultice maybe a couple times in some cases where people been bedridden, meaning they're all the time being on the bed, they couldn't move, and they would wear diapers, and because they've been all the time lying down, that would create a lot of ulcers from the diaper, and all because they also cannot go to use the bathroom correctly, so they would get a lot of infections. And also the way the people would clean the area by using wipes, that can cause a little bit uncomfortable, I would say, sensation. They can also cause pain and obviously infections. So usually most people, what they do, they just apply some sort of ointments, but the ointments don't really heal because they don't provide nourishment, and they just cover up. But we really want to heal the area internally, and also provide nourishment to the skin so it can regenerate itself. So what I used is slippery elm. I use slippery elm and over those areas where they would people would have their ulcerations and pain from lying down so long in the bed. Okay, so that's where I use slippery elm. There's other ways to use slippery elm as a facial. We usually use a clay and we use charcoal, but many people don't know, but you can use also slippery elm over your face. You can basically the same way apply, mix slippery elm, which is kind of on a I would say mucousy side, mix with water and you apply over your face, let it dry, and then wash it off. The only problem with slippery elm that it's endangered herb, and many herbalists try not to use slippery elm at this moment because it's endangered, and they try to use different herbs. So what can be other herbs that can be used instead of slippery elm? Marshmallow root. Marshmallow root powder can be also used instead of slippery elm, and it's really amazing. It really helps with many problems. Okay, so other things that I found, slippery elm specifically, because it's regrows the tissues so fast. It's not like comfrey, but also I found really helps regrow tissue fast. So that's why, even for the babies, if they have a diaper, if they have diaper rashes, they can use slippery elm or marshmallow root. Okay, any of those are absolutely incredible. Now, the next poultice that I will speak is the garlic, and we know about the garlic is absolutely incredible. The garlic, it can be applied straight over the thighs. You just want to make sure whenever you apply the garlic straight, or you do garlic poultice, that the sty is already formed. And many people don't understand what means when I say form. That means that already is pus is built up, because if it's not still built up and the sty is not ready, so then there is still inflammation underneath. And when you apply garlic, the garlic just helps to kill right away. And what happens that sometimes there is a more inflammation stuck in inside. Okay, so if you apply a garlic poultice over the eye, and specifically over the sty, you want to make sure that the eye is ready, and the sty is formed, so that when you apply, the whole mucus and everything will just be gone. But I found garlic juice, a garlic poultice is absolutely incredible. Help with warts. Just application of the garlic over the skin can really help. The only thing that I do suggest, some people have a very sensitive skin, so when you apply garlic straight, it can cause more burn and stuff. So what I usually suggest, if you can mix garlic with some oil, so that way it does not really burns your skin. Okay, so other things you can use, garlic is, you can use the garlic in the ear when we are dealing with the ear infections, right? And we can do the same way we do the onions, and we basically can chop up the garlic and we can put inside the claws, and then close the claws as an envelope, as I mentioned before, and then you can just apply over the area. In most cases, everyone is familiar to using garlic as in garlic oil that can be put right inside the ears. So, but that's both wonderful. Another way is to, if someone has a vaginal thrush, so what they can use, they can take a garlic, peel off. I don't know. Oh, I forgot to get the garlic, but that's okay. So basically, you take the garlic, and then you create some like a tampon, and you can insert this into the vagina. The only thing that it's really wonderful, but I found that you cannot use raw garlic because it really can cause irritation. So I would suggest dip it in the oil before you insert it into the vagina. Okay. Other things wonderful, garlic poultice is wonderful for if we're dealing with a dental infection, like we had someone on the group who had infection. So what did I suggest? Garlic is absolutely helps to kill right away the infection that is coming. So it's also wonderful to as insect repellent. So let's say if you are dealing with you're in an area where there is too much insect, too much flies, mosquitoes, so you can take a little bit of garlic and actually apply over your skin. Again, I would suggest use it with the oil and not by itself, because some people might have irritation. Now, I don't know if you're going to smell so good, but for sure, nobody will want to come and see you. Okay, let's go over a few more other poultices. Okay, another poultice that we speak always about, that it's a charcoal poultice. Now, charcoal is absolutely incredible because it pulls out the toxins. And I just for I think for about half week, I'm dealing with some child who had horrible rashes under her arm, and it's basically spread. It's some sort of a virus, but one area specifically was very infected, and was the wound was very raw and open. So I suggested to do a charcoal poultices for a couple hours, and by doing a charcoal poultices, we've been able to kind of heal the area, so that way is no longer infected, and the bruise is healing very nicely. So charcoal is absolutely incredible in those areas. Now I also have seen that charcoal can be applied over inflammations. So not only it pulls the infections, but also helps with inflammation. It's also wonderful to use in the kidney and liver problems. Like I usually suggest clay, but also charcoal can be used. A charcoal poultice is incredible. So what you do is you basically prepare the charcoal poultice. I'm not going to show right now, but basically you take the charcoal, you take the psyllium, you mix them together, you make it like a nice play-doh, you roll it, and then you apply over the area that you're dealing with that problem. Let's say it can be a kidney in that area, or can be a liver. You apply it, you then wrap it with saran wrap, or with the special, we have this special underpads that can be also used, so that way it's not gonna get dirty and will be nice and clean. And then you basically cover nicely with either hot like either like wool wrap or something like that, so that way it stay in place, and charcoal will go in and really help you to detoxify the area. Absolutely incredible. Now also charcoal is anti-aging, so that's good to know. And if we can apply charcoal over our faces, it's absolutely incredible. Now, I also found that the charcoal can be used in the areas where is the really pus coming out. So I found that there is a times there, a couple cases I've had of people who did had like severe infection on their feet, and doctor prescribed antibiotics, and even though they took antibiotic, it still didn't heal them. So what I suggested is to do charcoal poultices, and then also taking infection formula internally, and we've been able to heal the problem. So charcoal is absolutely incredible to use. Now let's go few more other poultices, so that way you know few more. Now comfrey poultice is incredible. Comfrey can be used or either root, or we can use the herb by itself, which is the leaves. And I've seen comfrey to do healing, and heal the broken bones, and heal burns, and heal open wounds in an incredible fast pass. And now comfrey is I would say one of the most important herbs to have on hand at all times. Um, um, the only thing with the comfrey that I would not use it in times when there is a infected wound, because if there is already infection, you want to first treat the infection, because comfrey itself is really helps to rebuild so quickly. It will so what will happen basically, if the wound is open and there is infection, and why I suggest to treat infection, because as soon the comfrey comes into the picture, it needs the problem, meaning it covers the area so quickly. But if there is infection underneath, so you didn't do anything, because it as soon you covered and the tissue is built up, what happened with the infection underneath, it's going to continue grow and spread. And that's why where you have to be very careful and not to use a comfrey. Okay, so I usually, in those cases, I suggest to use yarrow. And you, let's say if there's open wound, I would suggest to use yarrow. You dip your hand in the yarrow tea, and when you see that there's no longer infection, only then you can use comfrey. And that many people don't understand, so it's really important point. And so yes, comfrey can heal and knead the bones, and that the name is bone kneader. So if someone broke something, wonderful to use a comfrey poultice. And how you use the comfrey poultice? So either you take the root or you take the leaves and you add them into the pan. You add some water and you simmer it. And then you just take the cloth and you dip it inside the tea, and you can apply it this way. This is only one way of preparation. Another way is you chop the comfrey leaf by themselves, and then you basically crush them like we did with the cabbage. Same thing. We have to bruise the herbs so that way they will faster get into the area, because if you apply cabbage just like that, it's not going to do anything. That's what I said before. So what you do is you have to bruise the herbs. You have to bruise them so that way they'll do a better job. Okay, so the same thing can be applied to, let's say, to what? To the onions. We chop the onions. Same thing, it's done to the potatoes. What we do with the potatoes, we shred the potatoes so that way they work faster. Okay, so it's very important when you work with herbs and you work with fruits and stuff that you chop them, you crush them, you bruise them. Okay, so let's say you take the comfrey and you bruise the comfrey. You even you go through the food processor, you can add a little bit water into it if you want to. Let's say if sometimes the comfrey can be on the dry side, so you kind of run in the food processor and you take this mush and you put inside the cloth, and then you cover it very nicely, and then you apply over the area that you're trying to treat, and the miracle will happen. Probably in a day it will be already, the skin will start form and new cells, and you'll see absolute fast healing. I myself treated from third-degree burns to broken hands and twisted ankles by using comfrey, and I had absolutely incredible results. Now, comfrey can be you also used on knee pains. If somebody suffers from knee pain, you prepare the way I suggested and you apply over the area, and you'll see how fast it's gonna heal. And now you might say, "Oh, I don't have a comfrey. What other things I can use?" Well, we have other poultices that are absolutely incredible that maybe you even have it on hand. And one of those that maybe you never heard about, this is the carrot poultice. Like, what do you mean carrot poultice? Well, this is absolutely incredible because in 1747, there was someone by the name John Wesley who would use carrot poultices and treat almost every disease. So we like underestimate the power of carrots. We think, oh, this is just a carrot. It's not just a carrot. If people used to cure so many diseases, then we are on the right spot. Okay, so how you would use the carrots? In the same way, you have to shred the carrots. So that way you break them into the cells so they will get into the area faster. So what we do with the carrots, so we can apply this over the neck area if we have a pain. We can also add into the carrot ginger, so that way it will be double work. Ginger will create heat, and carrot will also help to really purify and clean and remove toxicity. So I think they will work nicely together, and it can be applied to almost any area where you have a sores or you have a wounds. Okay, so here we go. It will get a little bit on the orangey color, but that's okay. It's worth it, right? So let's say you don't have right now comfrey, but you have a carrot and you have an open wound. So why not to use a shredded carrot? That's absolutely incredible. Then we have also fig poultices where we can use a figs, and we can use a fig as a medicine, and actually either a leaves or figs themselves can really help to remove toxins and draw and clean the lymphatic system. So that's absolutely incredible. Other poultices that many people don't know, there could be, let's say, honey. Honey can also be an incredible poultice by itself, and you can use just apply honey over the area that you're treating. Let's say it can be the case that the one I mentioned was the young girl who had open wounds. So we used on the large wound, we used charcoal poultice, but on the other smaller wounds, I used a honey. And what I did, I took a honey and I suggested to mix in with or either with herb that contains berberine, and berberine it's actually antifungal, and it's very strong herb to help to kill any sort of infections. So we used in that case a golden seal, and so we mixed honey, golden seal, and echinacea and applied over those wounds, and they are healing pretty well without infection. Okay, so here we go. Other things that you can apply, honey can be also applied over bronchial problems, like if someone suffers from asthma. But the only thing I did found, it's really hard to apply honey because it becomes very messy. So I usually would not suggest honey on the skin unless you treat like certain small areas. Let me give you a few other amazing things. Ginger poultice is absolutely incredible, helps with arthritic pain, helps to bring circulation into the area, very healing. And the people and especially let's say girls who are suffering, they having cramps, ginger is very good. So how you do it, you shred the ginger, you put it in a cheesecloth like I showed before, and you apply over the area, and it really helps. Now, the only thing, it burns. So what you have to be aware, as soon you feel a little bit burning sensation, you kind of have to stop. And then remove the poultice, and then when you feel that it's okay, you can put it back and just play around, take it out and put it back, take it out and put it back, and you'll see how fast the healing will come. I had one case of someone that her sister was a doctor, and but she believed in more natural remedies. So she called me, said, "Oh my gosh, Chava, I have this problem. My sister said that I have to run to the doctor. This is emergency. I might have a clot or something." I'm like, "It doesn't make sense. You're a young mom. Why should you have this and that?" So I suggested to do a charcoal I suggested to do ginger poultices. She've done twice, and she was healed. So this is absolutely incredible. So ginger really helps in many, many cases. Now there's other poultices like pineapple poultice. There is a grapefruit poultice. There's a pineapple that you can apply actually on the skin. It really helps, and also removes tumors out. That I've never really deal with that. I never applied pineapple on tumors, but I've heard that it's also very incredible and powerful. Another thing that we can use as more poultices is the tofu. And you might say, what do you mean tofu? Well, tofu is absolutely incredible because it's good to heal the wounds. It helps with the bleeding, concussion, headaches, and earaches. I've never used tofu, but I'm just suggesting that there is also ways that people can use a tofu very successfully. Now they can also combine tofu and the garlic together and apply over the area that they're trying to treat. Now, another thing that you can use is you can do mixes yourself, which is you can create a powerful application of for a wound. And let me read. It's something that can be done with tofu, and then you also grate into it white flour, you grate ginger, and you grate garlic, and you mixing this all together, and you flatten them and you put in the freezer, and then whenever you need, you just take it out and you apply this on your head or other areas that you're trying to treat. Okay, so this is another way to do it. Now,
could you repeat that? White flour, ginger.
White flour, ginger. I can give you the recipe. I wrote this down. Okay, so it's about 250 gram of tofu, and then you squeeze the liquid out, and then you add 5 tablespoons of a white flour, 5 tablespoons of a grated ginger, and 4 tablespoons of a crushed garlic. You mixing this all together, and the preparation is similar to the charcoal poultice. When you put everything into a Ziploc bag and you roll it with the pin, right? the way we learn to do charcoal poultice. So this is the same way how you do it. And then you can apply over the area that you're trying to treat. Specifically good for head wounds, concussion, headache. And because it's very cooling, so it really helps to cool off the area. Another thing that I found, the bananas are absolutely incredible. The banana poultice, especially banana skin poultice, helps to help with the different warts, to remove warts from from the skin, and it's very powerful. And the way you do it, you take a little bit fresh banana peel, you take it and you cut to the area that you to the size that area you're trying to treat. You kind of bruise it a little bit, you apply over the area, you put a bandage on, and you leave it for a couple hours, and then you change it to the new one, and you do this, and slowly the wart will fall off. Okay, so that's another wonderful way of using a poultice. I also heard about the papaya. I didn't really try it, but I've heard about the papaya, especially papaya skin. And I know the case of someone who was making juices, and then he hurt himself and crushed a little bit his fingers. So what he done is he applied the papaya poultice over the area, and in couple days it's healed completely. So yeah, there is many ways we can use a poultices, but remember, this is absolutely incredible, powerful tool in natural healing. So if you have any questions, please ask me, because if you want me to cover a few other things, like I'll definitely can do. I mean, the clay, we know the clay is also powerful and can be applied over the liver to pull the toxins out. And I found it's also incredible. Yeah. So basically, I kind of covered a lot of things. Now, if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask me.
For arthritis, what would be the best thing for
Right.
like?
So for the arthritis, what I would use, right? So I usually would love to use a cayenne, but there's a couple things that we can use. I would suggest first maybe try by using a cabbage. So let's say you need to bruise the cabbage leaves. Like you can't just put them like that. That's the whole thing, that we have to bruise them. And when we bruise them, only then we can apply them over the area. So you can bruise the cabbage and you apply over the area that you have inflammation, and then put saran wrap around, and then put like or either socks or something to keep it tight and warm, but on the other hand, so that way the cabbage will pull out the toxins. Because what is arthritis? It's basically toxicity, calcified material that it's stuck in there. So we really have to break it out. And the best way to do it is use cabbage. But because we are individuals and everyone is individual, we might say, well, I tried a couple days and I feel like it didn't really help. So what we can do, we can use the potatoes as another way. And potatoes is also helps to pull toxins out. It pulls infections out. So why not also to use as a potato? Because potato is incredible and really helps to pull it to the surface toxicity. Now, another thing that I found that could be really, really good is cayenne, as I said before. So you're going to take the cayenne, you're going to put a little bit oil on the paper, and then you sprinkle it cayenne and you put right on the area where you're trying to treat. Okay, so either you can try cabbage, you can try potato, you can also try the cayenne, and you can also do, let's say 1 month you're going to do cabbage, and 1 month you can do potato, and 1 month you can do cayenne. Or you can do in the morning, you do, let's say, cayenne, and then by the evening while you go to rest, you can do cabbage. The problem with the potato, that it's a little bit leaking. So at night, I would not use a leaky potato because that will leak, and it's not comfortable to have a bad wet, and it's not, I would not suggest to do it. But you know, that's why usually poultices better should be done through the day and not at night. The only poultices that you can do at night are dry ones. So charcoal poultice is wonderful because it can be applied, and then it's secured with socks or onions, that you put your feet into the Ziploc bag and then you put the socks on, so that way it stays in, and it's wonderful and can help with congestion, with cough. Same thing comes to the garlic, and I found those work incredible. And while you sleep, the garlic is doing its job and it's helping to heal, and and really kill whatever is invader is in the body at that moment.
What about for I see I have stenosis and spondylolisthesis on my back, and it's painful, especially in the morning. As the
Right,
day goes on. But
right.
should I try the cabbage and the cayenne and maybe the cabbage because I think it's coming from arthritis. I'm not sure.
Right. Uh, I think what I would try, maybe. Did you try the castor packs in the beginning, like the castor oil? And what did you do? Is it help or was not that helpful? I don't hear you. I lost you.
Um, it,
Oh,
because it's my back. It's very
mm-hmm.
hard to put it on. So
Right.
I got these big bandages, and it's kind of difficult when it's your back because it's hard to reach and everything.
Right. Um. But I mean, same thing can be said. How you can apply cabbage to the back. You kind of need the help. It's not
Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
Um. So let me think what we can do. Uh, Maybe if we do ginger, did you try ginger poultice before? And the ginger
Yeah.
poultice, what you can do is you shred the ginger and you put it in a pot and you kind of simmer it. And then all what you have to do is, let's take you take the towel and you soak this in the ginger tea, let's say. And
Hmm.
then while it's still warm but not burning, you can apply over this area, and kind of cover it, and then put a hot towel over, and then put a hot bottle, and then just sit like that. And what will
Hmm.
happen, I think the ginger will basically, why you get the pain is because through the night you're not moving that much, and because you're not moving, then the right away the toxicity or calcification or whatever happens in the body settles right there, right? So
Hmm.
then you feel like in the morning, oh, so that's why maybe if we bring new blood, so let's say like a ginger, that helps to reduce the pain but also send blood and helps with inflammation, that might help very much. But you don't really have to put ginger pieces.
Hmm.
What you can
Yeah,
do
yeah.
is you just soak the towel and you apply over that area, and then just right away cover it with the towel and put a hot bottle over. That's what probably I would do. Maybe it will kind of help. And you know what, you should try once and just tell me how do you feel
Hmm.
by you, because it is interesting. There's many ways, but I think ginger, I think in your case will be very good,
Yeah.
as because especially it comes closer to the morning, so that means like this immobility is the one that causing, so why we awaken the area.
Hmm.
And I feel if you use cayenne, that might be too potent, maybe in a certain area, because like it's also your back. And if we'll start burning, then it might be too much. So it's kind of hard to work. At least the ginger is in your hand. You're just using a towel that's been soaked in the tea. So that's kind of, I think, might be
Yeah.
easier.
Let me try it. Let me try
Yeah,
it
try.
because it.
Obviously not comfrey, because we're not trying to rebuild
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
over there, but we need to bring in circulation. So I would say in that case, why not to use it? For bacteria in the leg, can charcoal work? Yes. Charcoal is absolutely incredible to use in the time when there is a bacterial infection, as we mentioned before. And even something new that you learned is about the carrots. The carrots even can pull the infection out. But why not, if you have a charcoal, you mix it with the psyllium as the way I usually suggest, and apply over the area, wrap it up, and see how it's progressing. Okay, absolutely, it's good. Many other questions? but it's inside, not on the skin. What do you mean? What do you mean? The infection is inside, inside the leg. So what the charcoal will pull out the infection. Let me see. Oh, here I see. Got it. Okay. Yes, yeah, obviously, but the point of the charcoal that it will go in and will pull the toxicity out. That's the beauty of the charcoal. Um, Another thing, as I mentioned, you can try potatoes. The potatoes also pulling bacteria out very nicely. So you shred some potatoes, you apply over the area, and then you bandage it, and then you give like 2 3 hours, and then you remove it and you see what's happening. If you see that it's working nicely, then you're on the right track, and then you can continue using potatoes. But I always suggest to use a common sense, because sometimes people overusing it. What does it mean? They apply a potato and everything gets wet, because the potato is like wet, and then it's like you see the skin gets so like kind of damaged from too much wetness.
Mhm.
And they continue to applying more and more, and they can cause more irritation to the skin. So the better is that when you shred the potato, you apply over the area, and then you check what is happening. If you see that there is no longer infection, then you can use, let's say, or clay or charcoal to dry out even more the area, right? But don't continue applying potato if it's already skin so wet. And I've seen couple cases that send me a picture of a nail that was infected, and they apply the potato, and you see the whole nail becomes white from so much using potatoes. So the skin tells you, I need some oxygen, I need some air. And that's where you need to use your common sense. Okay, let me read. Another thing I have grows on my foot, and pretty needs pretty hard. What is this? I don't know. What kind grows on my food? What kind grows do you have on your food? Um, um, I'm, I don't know. To suggest. I have to first find out what kind grows. It could be either from the bruise, or that could be because you're wearing your shoes that are tight. It's on the top of the foot. Well, they could be because of the shoes. There could be why you have some sort of a growth. That could be because you're not wearing a good shoes, and then the shoes are all the time touching your feet and causing this bump. Or that
No, but
could
it's
be.
like a real bump. I had like maybe 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and it was a bump that hurt. I used to ask my kids to massage it, but it used to hurt a lot. And then it
Mm-hmm.
went away. And
Yeah.
now, like it's been a few months already, I have this. It feels like bone, but I don't think it's bone, but it's really hard. But it doesn't hurt, but you can see like a real, like a ball, like on the
Right.
top. I don't
Yeah.
think
I
it's
mean,
because of the shoes. I don't know.
I think that could be because of either your shoes, and there is a couple things you can do. You can either apply the cayenne salt to bring circulation into the area, and then see how do you feel. Let's say my son just like 2 days ago had he said, "Oh my gosh, I have a bump on my feet also," and like I'm thinking maybe it's the same, but he's playing a football, and that could be soccer. He plays soccer, so maybe he hurt himself, and that caused the problem. But so I did suggest it to apply tissue and bone with the cayenne and see if it really helps. If not, the other thing, you can try a potato pulp, I mean a banana poultice, and see if it helps. You can peel some banana peel, bruise it a little bit, apply over the area, rub it up, and see what's happening. If you see that it's not healing, then I would suggest even checking with your chiropractor, that he might take a picture and then we can see. But I think in most cases, if it's right in those areas, it disappears and then comes back. There could be because of the shoes. Like my grandmother, she had something like that over almost on every area on her finger. She had those bumps, and that because of shoes that she was wearing was so narrow that they would hurt, and there was all these raised bumps over. So yeah, so I would try to do something like that, and let me know. Interesting, because that way update me, try, and there is no harm in doing it, right? I would not do charcoal poultice. That's not what I would do. The only thing come to my mind is
I
the
can send
banana
you a
or
picture.
soaking cayenne, tissue, and bone. Huh?
I'll send you a picture. I started doing either dish and bone cayenne or
Yeah,
or castor
yeah,
oil.
yeah.
It's not on the skin. It's like it's part of the food. It's like looks like
Right,
a
but
bowl.
because let's say the shoes are tight, if you're wearing shoes that let's say have this, they're
No,
like a
it's not
bow,
on the part
narrow,
that it
they
touches.
can actually cause this. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I don't know. You can send me a picture so that way I can evaluate better. But from what seems to me that either your shoes are not correct and that they're the ones that causing the problem. And they are pretty hard. Actually, those calcified materials are very hard. And I remember I would massage my grandma and I would really feel them. And they're like similar to arthritis that people have, that it's built around their hands, but it's a little bit different when it comes to the food. So I would like massage it. As more you massage it, more create circulation, and then let me know. And don't be afraid to touch, really massage the area. Don't feel like, oh, no, do it. Yeah,
I have a question about
sure, please.
I have two grandchildren who have, they can't hold their urine very well. I
Right.
was wondering if a ginger compress on their above their, in their near their bladder, would maybe help it warm it up. Maybe is it? Do you think it's too cold?
um
Like an incontinence for children.
right. I mean, there's many ways we can do it. Actually, you can use maybe rosemary
Those-
creates circulation. Ginger is more heating, and I would not use on the young children, specifically on those areas, because it's too heating. So I would kind of, maybe not ginger, but rosemary is good. And
Okay.
then I actually had the whole protocol about that. I'm just does not come into my mind at this moment, but I think that um, if you write me on the membership group, that I might go over what I already suggested in a few cases. It just does not
Okay.
come into my mind at this moment, but definitely I would. Rosemary is very good.
Okay.
Then also you want to use herbs that help, you know because why they are going to the bathroom, or like when they sleep, they usually what happens, or while or just the
When they sleep, and then some, a lot of times she's 6 years old already, and she can't make it to the bathroom. You know,
right. Okay, so that there's also mental, emotional can go into it,
yeah.
and emotions can go if they're in fear, or maybe they're too tired, or there is also they drink too much, or there can be also worms and parasites.
Mm,
Yeah, that can also cause the problem. So there's a few things that can cause this issue.
okay. Yeah, it
Yeah,
could be.
and there is herbs that help, like there is a like a cotton silk that it's wonderful, that helps to really, whenever they go, so they go in a good flow, and it's not like, but I would really go more dive deep into it, why they might have the problem. But
Hmm.
usually there is a few, there could be emotional comes really into the picture. I found like many children have those emotional problems, that when they just don't want to, or they're dealing with something and having
Hmm.
hard time to wake up, or they're too tired or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
And I apologize that I'm like that's on the Zoom it said 6:30, but in reality on the flyer it said 6 o'clock, and I
Yeah,
just
I saw
realized,
both of
like,
them.
yeah, and I'm like looking at my and like, oh, 6 o'clock, so I try to send everyone at 6 o'clock, so just come join
Mhm.
me, and that's it. But that's okay. I mean, we have recorded the message, and it's also good, because a couple times I didn't my suddenly my computer had no no Wi-Fi, so it's turned off and then turned on again and turned off. So now we had a smooth meeting. And I'm planning to do a few more other classes, and I'm planning to do again poultices, but not just speak about the poultices and really cover them, but really teach how to prepare it. So that way I'm going to do the next class real preparations. We've done few classes where I did show like charcoal, onion, and garlic, those basics, but we're gonna go over. And my next class, I'm trying to, I want to do how to prepare your own remedies. So that will be probably the next class that we're planning to do, and it's all about to teach people how to prepare a basic remedy. So that way, you know, and you have, you know, you're empowered to do your own medicine and not only dependent on whatever is in the market or whatever. So yeah. And I think just the knowledge about the humble potatoes, you know, it's so much. We can use this potato to treat hemorrhoids and many other things that people never thought about that, you know. And from cabbage to honey to ginger, you know, and then obviously the castor oil is absolutely incredible. Yeah. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. And as soon the recording will be available, I'm going to send you all the recording.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me.
Really enjoy it always.
Thank you.
I love you
Very
very
good.
much. Thank you, everyone. I really
Bye-bye.
love you. Thank you for supporting me. All the
You're the best.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.